start and then everybody can just keep on joining. If anybody can give a thumbs up or open their mic and let me know if I'm perfectly audible. Alright. Thank you everyone for joining in. We're so happy that we're doing yet another session on Erasmus Mundus Joint Scholarship. Considering how popular and the amount of requests that we're getting, Girls Fly is an international NGO that is based within the US but works within 16 different countries and across 5 different continents. And we're very happy that this year we were also able to launch Pakistan, and we've been doing most of our activities virtually. If at any point you want to reach out to us for any help or any suggestions, please do email us and I'll leave the email in our chat box. Today's session is yet again on Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. Our speaker Khatija Khan is here. Thank you so much, Khatija, for advocating and being here and being a very, very active but also very meaningful resource. I'm going to give a small introduction to Khadija, but at any point, if you guys want to check her profile or ask her questions, you can leave them in the chat box as well. So, Khadija is currently enrolled in the Erasmus Mundus Masters in Biomedical Engineering for the academic year 2024 to 2026, which means that she's a recent scholar, so she can give you all the tips and tricks on the application procedure. Her program countries are Serbia, Greece, and Romania, and for her background, she did her bachelor's in biomedical engineering from Rufa International University. Without further ado, I think we can go on. Khadija, the floor is yours.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for such a nice introduction. It's a pleasure for me to share my insights, my experience through Girls Fly Pakistan platform. I really appreciate your efforts. I came across your platform just few days ago, and I'm really mesmerized by the efforts, by your initiatives, and it's a pleasure for me to share my experience through your platform. Good evening, everyone. Let me share my presentation so that I can guide you step by step. Okay, can you please let me know if my screen is visible or not?
Yes, Khadija, it's visible.
Okay. Now I'm shifting it to the presentation view. As you guys know, I'm Khadija Khan, and I am your speaker for today's session, which is based on strengthening your application for Erasmus Mundus. First of all, I would like to share agenda of our session with you, which involves introducing this scholarship, which is very important. When you apply for something, it is very important for you to have complete knowledge about that thing. So introduction is the most important thing. Then I will show you the steps to apply. I will be giving you the live demo, and then I will discuss selection procedure, tips for strong application, how you guys can strengthen your profile, because we are competing against whole world. So we need to have some good points in our profile, some key points. Then I will share my journey, not in detail but just in 1 to 2 slides, and then we will have Q&A session. Okay, firstly, I would like to introduce myself very briefly. I completed my bachelor's in biomedical engineering, and now I'm going to share some just few points from my profile so that you guys get an idea about how my profile looks like, because I applied for Erasmus Mundus and you guys are going to apply for that scholarship, so you should have idea about the profile. Actually, I want to share that only your GPA, your academic performance is not enough. You should have something extra in your profile. And then throughout the presentation, I will be sharing tips and tricks for you to, so that you can enhance your profile and add some extra things in your profile to make it nice. Okay. Who is the moderator for the session? Sorry, I don't know the name.
Yeah,
Um,
Khadija, it's me, Barak.
Okay, Barak. Barak, please let me know if my screen is visible, if I'm audible, okay?
Yeah, it's going perfect.
So much. Okay, so I graduated with first class honor from Rifa International University, and I was active actively involved in various engineering and art societies, and I was taking part in various activities. I attended number of local conferences, workshops, seminars, and webinars. I'm focusing on the local thing because I want to mention one thing here. Whatever you do, whatever is your experience, that matters, not the name of organization under you are doing something. Okay, so at the student level, if you are doing something locally, it counts and matters a lot. Okay, so then I did a 2 months internship in Rawalpindi Institute of Cardiology as a biomedical engineer, and then I participated in various engineering projects. I used to actively take part in the engineering or research projects which used to be conducted in my university. So this is the brief introduction, and these are some like highlights of my profile. Okay, so firstly, I would like to introduce Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. I am sure that majority of you are aware of this scholarship, but for those who don't know, it is an initiative by the European Union for the quality of higher education. If you win any program under Erasmus Mundus scholarship, you are obliged to complete your masters in at least 2 European countries, or maximum 4 to 5 European countries. It depends on your program. I am sure that our audience is from Pakistan. Majority of us are from Pakistan. So here's a motivation for you. It's been 3 years that majority of Pakistanis are selected for Erasmus Mundus scholarship throughout the world, and you can see the count of Pakistani student, which is 189. So it's a motivation that if those students can do, if we can do, you can also do. One thing I would like to mention, we have a lot of Erasmus Mundus program available for masters, for STEM programs. If you belong to the art background, there are limited opportunities or options available for you. You need to explore. I'm sure you will find, but for the engineering students, for students who have their backgrounds from sciences, medical sciences, engineering, they will find a lot of courses under Erasmus Mundus. Okay, so I'm sorry. Okay, so let's start with the application process. Though our agenda for the webinar for this session is to share some tips and tricks for making your application strong, but I believe first you need to know the application process in detail so that you don't miss any important information. First thing, if you want to see the program in which you can apply, you have to go to Erasmus Mundus catalog. Okay, so I will share this link with you, guys. Let me share in chat now so that you can explore. Okay, this is the link for Erasmus Mundus catalog, or you can just search through Google and you will get this link. Okay, let's explore. Berka, can you please tell me if my screen is visible? I'm on Erasmus Mundus catalog.
Yes, Khadija, it is.
Okay, thank you. When you will scroll down, you will see a field filter by keywords. Okay, I am from biomedical engineering background. I will search biomedical engineering. Okay, when I will search biomedical engineering and click on search, no need to select country, duration, university's field of study, no need, just search with keywords. I can see 3 programs. Okay, I will show you for Erasmus Mundus Master in Biomedical Engineering. One thing I would like to mention here, for example, let's search for civil engineering. When you will search for civil engineering, you will see one thing, that there are 14 courses available for civil engineers, but there is not a single course which says Erasmus Mundus Master in Civil Engineering. So this is very common for Erasmus Mundus program. You will most of the times, 90% of the times, not find your course which is totally your major based. Okay, so you can search with the courses you are studying. Okay, you will even get see the whole programs which are based on your courses. Here you can see Erasmus Mundus courses in mechatronics. If we have civil engineers with us, they will know that these are all the courses related to civil engineering. For example, international masters in risk assessment and management of civil infrastructures. So don't be please bothered by this thing, because maybe you will search with your degree name, with your major name, and you will not exactly get the program with that name. So feel free to search with the courses you are studying, with the courses you are interested in. Okay, so if I search for my medical engineering, I'm seeing these three courses. It means I'm eligible to apply for these three courses, or I can apply for other courses too. I will let you know how can we shortlist the courses. First, I will show you Erasmus Mundus Master in Biomedical Engineering. Here you can see the link. You need to click on the link. Once you click on the link, you will see the let me click on the on this, okay, main title, so that we go to the main Mbiome website. Okay, it is very important for you to do complete research on the on this portal. Here it says call for 2024-2026 intake is now closed because they did not update this thing. It should be 2025 to 2027. So don't be worried. A lot of people message me on LinkedIn, especially those people who want to apply for Mbiome program, and they ask me that applications are not open. It will open, but you need to regularly check the website for the dates. Be active, and you will be aware when it will be open. Okay, so if it doesn't matter for which program you are applying for. Since I am from Mbiome, that's why I'm showing you the criteria, and you will get the rough idea, and then you can search for your programs. For example, here this is the website, and when you click about of your program, you will see the consortium. What does consortium means? Basically, it involves the universities or the countries in which you will be studying. I have already mentioned in the intro of the program that Erasmus Mundus programs are conducted in different European countries. You are supposed to study your master in different countries. For example, one semester in one country, second semester in second country, third in third country, and believe me, it's a fun. So don't be afraid, don't be scared by this thing. Okay, then you can see the teaching staff. How these things can help you, I will let you know when we will be discussing other things. Okay, program information. You can see the program structure and mobility. For example, I want to see the program structure and mobility. I can see that this program will be conducted in three universities: University of Craiova, Serbia; University of Patras, Greece; University of Medicine and Pharmacy, Grigore Popper, Romania. So we are supposed to study each semester. If we get selected for this program, we are supposed to study our first semester in Serbia, second semester in Greece, third semester in Romania, and for the fourth semester, which is for thesis, it is our choice to choose our country where we want to conduct our thesis. So Erasmus Mundus programs are structured like this. Okay, so this is the basic intro. Okay, okay, I like this thing. Now I want to see if I am eligible to apply for this program or not. How will I get to know about this thing? Admission require important dates. From important dates, you can see, let me show you. Last year it was open, applications were opened around 6th December. This year it's not opened, though we are it's 29th December and applications are not yet opened. Okay, last year I remember I submitted my application on 5th February, and applications were dates were extended, and now we had the deadline of 14th February last. Okay, so here you can see the dates. Okay, requirements, because a lot of people message me on on LinkedIn, and they ask me what are the requirements. So instead of asking other people, you can choose your program. You can do research, and you will get to know about everything by yourself through the website. So let's go to requirement. Every website somehow looks like this. I'm not saying exactly like this, but somehow like this. Okay, so we have some requirement. The most important thing, a lot of people ask me about English proficiency exam. It depends from program to program. For Mbiome, we are not required to submit our English language exam scores if our previous education was in English. Okay, for example, you can here one thing is mentioned, that is let me show you proficiency in B2 level. Okay, in a case of scientific excellence, student with lower test scores, students that have finished bachelor studies in English language do not require certificate, and this thing applies for every Pakistani, Indian, Bangladeshi, South Asian students where most of our studies are conducted in English. So you don't need English language, but in MBiome, for MBiome you don't need. I explored 3 or 4 other programs. You don't need IELTS, TOEFL for those programs as well, but you need to clarify this thing. You need to cross check this thing if you need IELTS, TOEFL, etc. or not. Okay, this is the most important thing. Okay, we have required documents. What we need to submit? We need to submit a statement of purpose, CV. You can see cover letter, maximum 1,000 words. So go through all the details, study everything in detail. First you need to do research, study everything in detail, then prepare your application and apply. You don't need to apply before doing a proper research, because otherwise it will be a wastage of time, in simple words. Okay, so it's how you can see. Download application form for 2024 intake, download scholarship form, and when applications will be open, you will see apply now button, which is not visible at the moment. So it's how you can you will get all the information about requirements. You don't need to ask anyone, just do your research by yourself. Okay, then how to apply. Here you can see the button. Make sure you have attached all the document listed here that you are using documents for. Okay, all application, you need to read all these things and follow what they are saying. This is the simple thing. Selection procedure, this is the most important thing, which I also mentioned here in my presentation. Selection procedure. Why understanding selection procedure is very important? It is important because I showed you when I searched through civil engineering keyword, we saw 14 courses. What do you think? Should we apply for those? If you are a civil engineer, should you apply for those 14 courses? Obviously not, because applying in a single program takes a lot of time and efforts. I always recommend you to prioritize your quality over quantity. I will recommend you. I just applied in 2 programs and got selected for one. So I will recommend you to apply for 3 to 4 programs maximum 3 to 4 programs in, because that way you will be able to focus on the quality of your application. Because for the single program, for the single course, requirements from MBiome are different from another program. Okay, so requirements for one program can be completely different for other program. For example, I applied in 2 programs, MBiome and Emma. For MBiome, I was required to write cover letter of 1,000 words, maximum 1,000 words. But for Emma, I had to answer 5 to 6 questions on their portal. Likewise, for Emma, I was required to create CV for 3 pages. But for MBiome, there was no limit. So for Emma, I had to prepare CV for 3 pages, and for MBiome, I prepared my CV for 4 to 5 pages. So this is the thing you need to consider. And when you shortlist your program, first is obviously your interest. Second thing, please go through the selection procedure of your program. Why is it important? We all are applying because we want to get selected at the end. We want to be successful in that. So you need to be aware of the selection procedure. For example, for MBiome, your academic records have weightage of 60%. What does it mean? If you have a good CGPA, if you have good academic records, you are in a strong position, obviously, because you have already earned 60% of the marks. Okay, and we are competing against the world when we apply for this scholarship. Let me show you for another program. Okay, where are we? Okay, I will show you for the other program I applied for. Okay, and here you can see, if I go to, this is another program, and you can see its portal. It's different but somehow similar. Let's go to application and admission, and when I go to admission and selection, we can see one thing, that in for this program we have 30% weightage for the academic results and grade. It means if you are a student who unfortunately who doesn't have a good GPA or good academic record, but you think you have good experience, you have good expertise, or you have extra things, you can apply for programs like this, where your academic results are not given a lot of weightage. That's why it is very, very important to understand the selection procedure. Selection procedure varies from each program and also from country to country. So what do I mean when I say you need to perform very good research before applying for any program, so that you know what are the required documents to be submitted, how you can apply, what is the eligibility criteria, and also you get to know what will be the selection procedure, because deep inside we all know what experiences do we have, if our GPA is enough or not, because a lot of students who are really good but they don't have good GPAs, for them Erasmus is such a nice opportunity, because for some programs you can apply, you can even win those opportunities even if you don't have very good academic record. So it is very important. Okay, so this is the first segment. If you guys have any question or query regarding the application process, you can write in the chat box and we will address those questions in the end of session. Meanwhile, I would like to move towards the second segment of this webinar, which is tips for strong application. Okay, so first I already explained in detail about the importance of research, why you need to carefully read and understand all eligibility criteria, required documents for the program. Okay, just imagine you apply for the program and after 2 months they email you saying that your application is not complete and you are not fulfilling the eligibility criteria. So your time and efforts will be wasted. So be clear and be resourceful, do your research at first place and then apply. Okay, second point is strong personal statement. It is very important. Some people have really good academic grade, like a very good academic background, a lot of experiences, a lot of things, but they don't put a lot of efforts in creating personal statement. Personal statement is very important, and you need to clearly explain why are you choosing this program and how your future aligns and how your academic goals or your career goals align with this program. You completed, for example, I completed my bachelor's in biomedical engineering. Why do I need to pursue my master's? What is the need of pursuing master's? So when you apply for these competitive programs, you should have answer for all these questions. If you're applying for the program, why I am applying for MBIOM, why I am not applying for example, Goal is another program for biomedical engineers, why I'm not applying for that program. Obviously we will not mention that in personal statement that I am not applying for that program because of these reasons, but the focus here is that you should be clear, you should have aim. So you need to show your interest for that program, that yes, I have this in my profile, and with this interest I am applying for this program, and if I get this program I will do this thing. Okay, so personal statement is a very, very detailed. If I want to discuss, if I want to talk about personal statement, I can talk for 2 to 3 hours. This is a very like extensive topic. I have shared some of the points, and for all of you people who want to apply for Erasmus Mundus, about 2 to 3 months ago I invested a good amount of time in crafting a document where I shared examples from my own personal statement of purpose, which I submitted for my scholarship, this scholarship which I am pursuing right now. And you will get a very good outline, a good theme, very good idea from that document how you can write your personal statement from scratch. Okay, I will show you through this link, and I will share this link with you also. It is available on my feed, a LinkedIn profiles feed. Okay, so it is very important for you to highlight your passion for the subject and how the program will help you achieve your aspirations. Discuss relevant experiences, whether academic, professional, or extracurricular, and what you learn from them. What is the importance of relevancy, and what do I exactly mean by relevancy? I will explain that in this slide. First, I would like to show you, I will share this link with you so that you can also see. Okay, I will share in the chat. Okay, so I will go through. I will take all your questions once we are done with the session. Don't worry. Okay, so I clicked on this link, and here you can see a LinkedIn post. Here you can find a very short guide, a very short note for all of you. Okay, and this is the guide. What is the importance of this guide? Let me zoom. Okay, I it's how I started my letter of motivation, my statement of purpose. It doesn't mean that you all need to start with this line. I This is a guide for you all. Okay, I started my statement of purpose with the line: I am writing to express my strong interest in the MBIOM program under the Erasmus scholarship. Then you need to mention your motivation and background. For example, to support your motivation to pursue your current program, you need to mention why you chose biomedical engineering, or why you chose, for example, physics or chemistry as a major in bachelor's. So you can show your motivation, you can show your interest with those lines. First I started with this line in my letter, then I mentioned why I chose biomedical engineering. While pursuing biomedical engineering, I had to do a final year project in my final year, why I chose that specific topic for my final year project. So likewise, when you will move from page to page, you will find every, and these are literally words from my own motivation letter. I crafted this because I used to get a lot of messages where students ask me, how can we write our statement of purpose? This is the most commonly asked questions, and it is very difficult to review for everyone since we also have a lot of commitments. That's why I prepared this document. And also, respecting the time constraints of this webinar, I decided to share this link with you so that you can read as per your pace and understand as per your pace. Okay, so I would like to move towards the CV part, and you can get idea from that guide I already created and shared with you. Still, if you have any specific or relevant questions, you can write in the chat, and we'll be taking all those questions by the end of session. Okay, so relevancy is the key. Let me tell you, highlight academic and professional achievements. You need to mention your academic and professional achievements both in your CV and in your cover letter. Or when I say cover letter, please excuse me, because it can be, depending on your program, it can be cover letter, it can be letter of motivation, it can be statement of purpose, it can be personal statement. There is little difference between these documents which you can study through ChatGPT or from Google, but basic purpose of these document is same, that is to show your interest, to show your motivation, your enthusiasm for this program. Okay, so when I say academic achievement, it means you need to mention relevant coursework, projects, any honors or award. When I say coursework, it doesn't mean that in your CV you will list down all the courses you studied in your bachelor's. No, it means if you studied, if you did any interesting research assignment or research work, you can mention that. You will, even if that you did that for your grade, you don't need to be hesitated about it, just mention in your CV. And if you did any extra course through Coursera, through any online platform, you can mention all those courses. It doesn't matter if you did that course from Harvard or from a local university in Pakistan, it doesn't matter. It, the thing which only matters is your knowledge and your experience. Okay, so be very clear about this thing. Okay, so professional experience include all the relevant things. For example, work experience. I know majority of you will be thinking, we are students, we did not work, we don't have work experience. Work experience doesn't mean that you should be working in an organization or firm for 1 or 2 years. Work experience means your internship, which is most of the times compulsory for our bachelor's degree in Pakistan. Okay, if you have one internship, that's good. If you did any voluntarily work, for example, I was part of one NGO which is Kalam movement. Okay, I was applying for MBIOM program, which is related to biomedical engineering. But in my work experience, my first, I mentioned internship at the top. I had one research experience which I mentioned. Okay, and after that, I mentioned that I worked as a teacher in Kalam movement. Okay, But you must be thinking that working as a voluntary teacher is different, is not a experience that is directly relevant to my biomedical engineering program. But this experience highlights that I have the ability to adjust, to incorporate in different environment. Because when I was working as a volunteer, we used to visit different slums, and we used to teach homeless students there. So it shows that I have open minded behavior, and I can adjust with other students. Why is it important? It is important because in Erasmus currently I have 19 classmates from 19 different countries. So you should be open minded, you should be accepting, you should have acceptable nature when you work or study in such diversible environment. Okay, so you can mention such experiences. But if you attended a cooking or baking workshop, or you attended a baking, for example, course, no need to mention that in your CV. Because okay, it can be important for some other scholarships, but for Erasmus it is not important. Erasmus is all about relevancy. So focus on the internship, voluntary work, or workshops, seminars, webinars which were related or somehow relevant to your program. For example, my experience to work as a volunteer, okay, voluntary teacher, is somehow relevant because Erasmus is about a cultural experience, different cultural experience too. So this can be somehow relevant. I hope this experience, this example can make you think of your experiences which are relevant to your program, and you can add in your CV. So don't overcrowd your CV with all the irrelevant experiences, because it will have no worth. Okay, so this is what I want to mention. Strong letters of recommendation. Okay, one more thing. If you are applying for 3 or 4 different programs, make sure that you mention all the experiences related to that program. Okay, all the projects you did related to that program. If we have engineering students here or from STEM, we normally have project in every semester. So whatever project you do in each semester, I know I used to think that this is like nothing, this project has no importance, nothing. But no, don't think like that. Whatever you did, mention in your CV, relevant to your program. Okay, again, relevant to your program. Okay, so strong letter of recommendation. Your letter of recommendation should be program relevant. What does it mean? It doesn't only say that she is a very nice student, she is obedient, she is punctual. No, it should have something related to your program. And one thing, I will show you my own letter of recommendation so that you guys get an idea of how to prepare your letter of recommendation. Because as per I know in Pakistan, in most of the universities, you need to write your own letter of recommendation, then you request a professor, and then he or she signs that letter of recommendation. They don't write letter of recommendation by themselves most of the times. That's also good. Why is it good? I will tell you. Okay, and one thing, recommender can be your professor, HOD, dean, or any teacher who taught you. Please don't think that your recommender should be your HOD. Please don't think like that, because normally HOD and deans are very busy person, and you may miss your deadline thinking that I will apply when I will receive my letter of recommendation from HOD or dean. No, it can be from your professor, even from your lecturer. Okay, from junior or senior lecturer. Okay, for Erasmus programs, this is not the requirement. For some other scholarships, it can be a requirement that you need to get your letter of recommendation from HOD or dean. So please mind it that for Erasmus it is not requirement. Okay, first, to be very precise and in order, I will show you my letter of recommendation here. I'm free, you guys can also take screenshot of it if you want. I want to just show that it is a letter which acting HOD. Okay, um, I asked for the letter of recommendation from one of my professor. He was the acting HOD of our department at that time, not HOD, acting HOD, and he taught me two subjects. At this time, he was teaching me one subject, but in the other semester he taught me another subject because I prepared these letter of recommendation when I was in my seventh semester. Okay, so here you can see I have known her for the last 1 year in my capacity. I taught her the course of this, and she earned the superior grade. Okay, if you earn good grade, you can mention. If you earn B, okay, it can be a good grade, but no need to mention. Okay, based on Khadija's grade, attendance, and class participation, I would rate her academic performance as outstanding. So when I say it should be relevant to your program, what does it mean? You will now get an idea about it. I'm sorry, it's so. I need to change the thickness. Okay, so now you will get an idea. I supervised a research title, and by research, it doesn't mean a huge research. It was basically my semester project, automatic dental filling and analysis of post operative pressure distribution. She was a top performance of cohort with this GPA. If you have good GPA, mention it. If you don't have, no need to mention. She has significantly improved her presentation and communication skills under my supervision, and her award winning performance among 47 other presenters at the conference, etc. etc. So, what does it mean? It means that your letter of recommendation, your letter of reference letter should be relevant to the program you are applying for. I am applying for biomedical engineering, and when you read my letter of reference or letter of recommendation, you will get an idea. Oh, there is everything related to biomedical engineering. Okay, so normally when you search on Google letter of recommendation, letter of reference, Google shows you letter of recommendation like she is obedient, she is punctual, she has good team skills, some skills like this. I cannot exactly tell right now, I cannot remember, but it's very general. What I exactly mean is be specific for your program. And I mentioned one thing here on my slides, that Erasmus is all about relevancy. So please be relevant, be precise. Okay, so next is comprehensive. Okay, am I audible?
Yes, Khadija, you're perfectly audible.
Okay, is everything going fine? My pace and everything?
Yes, everything is perfect. Please continue.
Okay, okay. Actually, it's a very like detailed topic, and it is very difficult to summarize everything in one webinar, so I'm just trying my best. Okay, so next point is comprehensive and well organized CV. First thing, a lot of students who are applying for Erasmus Mundus scholarships send me CVs, okay, for review, and those CVs are not in Europass format. For European countries, if you are applying even for jobs or any scholarship in European countries, Europass is the standard. It doesn't mean that your CV should be in Europass format, but it is desirable, it is encouraged to have your CV in Europass format. I've attached the link here. What you can do, you will go to Europass website, and if you don't know how to create CV on Europass website, you will simply search on YouTube how to make a Europass CV, and it is very easy. You don't need to do formatting. Okay, you will just enter your information in the required fields, and then at the end you will select the format and your CV will be generated. It is very easy to be designed. Okay, so comprehensive and well organized CV. Be specific and honest. Please don't lie, because you will be embarrassed in your interview if you get shortlisted and they ask questions from your CV. So if we ask question from your CV and you have no idea about it, you will be embarrassed, and automatically it's not a good impression. So be honest. Whatever you mentioned, you should have experience related to that thing. Okay, add all your achievements and experiences relevant. When I say achievements and experiences, it doesn't mean that you mention your baking course. Okay, you can mention some relevant things. Okay, for example, your achievement is that you were the runner up for the football championship. You can mention that thing because this is achievement, but don't mention all of these achievements. Okay, you can mention some big achievements like this, but if you just participated, you can simply write, I will show you from my own CV how I wrote. Okay, Program show somehow relevant to your program relevant activities have more weightage. If you have some experiences related to your program, obviously it will have more weightage. Okay, so if you mention that you attended one webinar which was related to some like ethical concerns, for example, and if you say you attended one webinar directly related, for example, from my field, I can see from modeling and simulation. So modeling and simulation webinar will have more weightage, and maybe they can give more scores to that thing. Okay, so we have weightage for everything. So what I want to mention here is that you need to mention your program specific experiences more. Mention all your academic or research project. It doesn't matter if you did something big or small, whatever you did counts a lot at student level. Link for Europass CV, you can get this link. Okay, I will share this link as well. Customized reference letter, I showed you, I have just shown you how you can create your customized reference letter. Okay, plan ahead, start early and track deadlines. Start early so you have enough time to work on your letters. Don't be stressed, just work on daily basis. Okay, you don't need to. And one more thing, I will share that link. Okay, I will share that thing. Strengthen your profile. Okay, I will just show you how I crafted my CV since okay, we have time, but still. Okay, so this is my CV, which is in Europass format. This is the CV I submitted for my Erasmus Mundus program. Okay, MBiome. How I wrote all this, it will all automatically be created through Europass website. Okay, about me, you need to write a strong 3 to 4 lines about yourself. Okay, then education and training, your grade. Okay, so one thing a lot of students ask me, should we mention our thesis in the project section or in our education section? It is desirable to mention in or right after your bachelor, in your bachelor degree section, because it is part of your bachelor degree. But in last 1 to 2 months, I came across a lot of students who say that we don't have a lot of projects since we are not from engineering background or from medical sciences or health sciences where we have a lot of projects. If you don't have a lot of projects, okay, mention your project in the project section, or don't even create project section. Okay, create section for your experience, courses, workshops, webinars, seminars. Don't create section for project if you just have one project. Okay, this is the key point. Mention your education and training. Okay, in training I did not mention workshops because I created separate section for courses and workshop. But if you think you don't have a lot of workshops and courses, you can list it under education and training section. Then work experience, you can see I just mentioned title and brief 1 to 2 bullet points. It is what I mean when I say be concise, because it should look nice, it should be properly readable for our, because the CV we are creating, someone has to read that CV. Okay, so make it easy to read for the one who will be reading. Then internship, then 2 to 3 points. Duration, okay, these things will automatically be, you can see it's a very nice format and it will be created through Europass CV website. Okay, free of cost, obviously it's not pay, you don't need to pay. Okay, for project, these are all the projects I conducted, I did in my bachelor's. This is not something very huge, something extraordinary, no, this is as per the standard of a bachelor student. Okay, and also one thing, I did not mention all the projects because in engineering we normally do 2 to 3 projects per semester, so I did not overcrowd did this project section with a lot of projects, because I just mentioned the relevant course projects. How do I know if this is relevant or not? Because I did research. When I was reading about MBiome section on that website I showed you, when you will be reading that about your program section, you will get the idea on which things this program is focusing on. So I read all those details and then I mentioned every experience, my interest relevant to this thing. So that's what I mean when I say conduct your proper research. Mention projects, some publications. Okay, A lot of students say that we don't have publication. It's okay, it's understandable. A lot of my classmates don't have publications, but they got selected. It's a plus thing. Everything in your profile gives you some point. If you have publications, very nice. If you don't, no problem. You can see majority of my publications were under submission, under review, but I mentioned those things. And to be honest, both of these papers got rejected later on, but at that time I submitted this and I mentioned this. If you have submitted somewhere, you need to mention, because it shows that you know how to conduct research. Okay, you know how to be a researcher. So it's just, and if you attended any conference, it was, these conferences are not international conferences. I attended these conferences in Air University Islamabad. Okay, so these are local conferences, but it shows that you know how to present, you know how to design research methodology, and you know how to do a project. So it is what these all experiences show. So it doesn't need, you cannot see any international publication. Okay, but this is have, yes, this is the one, but it got rejected later on. So this is not a problem. This is for your motivation, that it everything counts. Okay. Workshops, you can mention the workshops you attended. These are not the workshops for 5 days, for 10 days, for 1 month. Majority of these workshops are 1 day workshop or 2 day workshop. You can get yourself enrolled in these workshops. Especially if you belong from STEM background, you can get yourself enrolled. There are a lot of workshops which are conducted online in your university, in the universities located in your cities. Okay, so you enroll yourself, because all these experiences count a lot. Courses, you can enroll yourself in the courses and through Coursera platform or a lot of online prayer platforms. Mention your honors and awards. Okay, I mentioned all the academic achievements. Okay, all the, for example, certification, I mentioned certificate of participation for this event, but I did not mention certificate of participation for the cultural event I attended, for arts event I attended. I was part of one art society and I used to attend a lot of events, but I did not mention that thing. For that, I just mentioned certificates of participation and attendance, received more than 30 awards for participating in different inter and intra-university co-curricular and extracurricular activities. And you can mention in your letter of motivation that you participated. For example, mention 1 or 2 names in those events, and you know how to survive, how to interact with different people, and also to you know the an exceptional team working skills, for example. So you can quote those examples, those experiences as example. No need to mention, just imagine I list down 30 awards here, no one will be interested to read all that. Okay, so it will give bad impression then. So be specific, and you need to choose what you want to mention. Digital skills, okay, you can mention about all the softwares, programming languages, modeling tools, or for art students or simple social sciences students, you can mention Microsoft, Excel, etc., etc. Okay, so you can mention those skills. Or Canva, if you know how to use Canva, you can mention those skills. Okay, and then language skills, I know these languages. Okay, so I mentioned these languages. Okay, for language too, if you're mentioning some language which you don't know, no, you don't need to mention that language, because they can ask some question relevant to that. Although they don't ask, but you don't know if it's your bad day or a good day, so no need to mention. I mentioned Turkish here. It's not from Turkish dramas, I learned it, I was in Turkey, so that's why I mentioned Turkey. So if someone of you is thinking that, oh, I know Turkish from Turkish dramas, please don't need to mention, because it's not the Turkish, you know. Okay, then recommendation, you need to mention, I submitted letter of recommendations for these from these two professors. So I mentioned their name with their permission in my CV. So this is the CV I submitted for my mBiome application, and I also showed you one of the recommendation letters. Okay, so let's move on to okay, not to waste the time further. Okay, how you can strengthen your profile. I have already told you that you need to do this, you need to do this, and a lot of students among you will be thinking, I don't have all this. What can I do? Okay, I will tell you what you need to do. First thing is what matters for your application. If you have a good GPA, you are at a good position, but only your CGPA is not enough. Just imagine there are people like one thing I will I want to be very clear with you all. For Erasmus Mundus programs, for each program, one or two Pakistani students are selected for each program. For example, I'm applying for Erasmus Mundus Master in Biomedical Engineering. Last year from the Pakistan, just I was selected. So keep this thing in the mind. You are competing against whole Pakistan, okay, for one program. Firstly, you are competing at Pakistan level and then you are competing against the world. If you are selected from Pakistan, then you are competing against the world. So please, a lot of students with 3.96, 97, even 99 or 4 GPA are applying for the scholarship. Why would they select you? They will select you even if you don't have 3.9 GPA, but you have 3.7 GPA and you have a good experiences. They can select you by dropping that 4 GPA student. So just imagine this is the beauty of these programs. Add extracurricular activities in your profile. You can see music and all that thing. Obviously, it doesn't matter. It shows just extracurricular activities. Some extracurricular activities show that you have good communication skills, you have good team working skills. So these skills are important for these scholarships. That's why you can mention your extracurricular activities and you can strengthen your profile by mentioning extracurricular activities. Which extracurricular activities I have already shared with you, okay? Co-curricular activities. If you participated in any project competition, if you were part of any workshop, even if you organized anything, okay, you can mention. Voluntary activities, if you were part of any NGO, see they are planting, okay. What does it show? It shows that they know how to respect the environment, how to respect the nature. It's a good point, so you can mention this. Obviously, huge weightage for research articles, projects, conferences. If you don't have research articles, no problem, just take part in your, okay, you can mention the presentation you delivered in your university as part of your subject obligations. You can mention that thing. You, all of you have done a lot of things, but some of you don't know how to present yourself, how to present your experiences. So the main difference is the presentation, how you present yourself, okay. And one thing, please keep that in mind, name and reputation of the organization doesn't matter at all, experience matter. For example, I want to give you example of myself. I'm not graduate of NAST, I'm not graduate of ComSits, I'm graduate of Rifa International University, which is a private institution located in Islamabad. But they selected me against all the students which were applying from Pakistan. Why? Because what you know, what is your knowledge level, what is your experience, what is your motivation, that matters, okay. Name and reputation of the organization matters in some of the scholarships, in some of the courses, but in most of the cases you yourself matters, okay. So you don't need to be disheartened by this thing that I don't belong to a very good organization, or I don't have experience of my co-curricular activity, extracurricular activity from a reputable international organization. Okay, if you have an experience which is relevant to international organization, that is amazing, that is amazing, it will have more points. But if you don't have, no worries, just apply with whatever you have. Certificates and awards are the proof of what you did, okay. For MBIOM programs, we had to upload our certificates and awards. If I'm mentioning one thing in my CV that I have this certificate and award, I was required to upload that. So keep that in mind. But for some courses, for example, for Emma, we were not required to upload certificates and awards. So whenever you do one thing, you need to ask the organizers for the certificates, because certificates are the proof that yes, you took part in that event. Okay, so please always remember to take your certificates. Key points. I will start from here. Do your best and leave rest to Allah. Hard work and prayers equally matter. What you can do. don't, just try your best and stay patient, because sometimes you apply for a lot of scholarship and you don't get accepted for even one, but you need to try again, again and again, because you are competing at international level. So you need to do your best. And yes, prayers, I believe in prayers a lot, so don't just apply, pray a lot. If you want it, just pray for it. Okay, pray for it, pray for it. First do complete research and then apply. And I have already shared with you the importance of doing research before applying. You don't need the expert review. Okay, to be very honest, a lot of students, a lot of people, okay, always say that you please get your documents reviewed. I never got my documents reviewed. I studied under Turkey Bislari scholarship and an Erasmus Mundus scholarship. I never requested someone for my documents review, for review of my documents. If you have someone who can review your documents, it's amazing. You are lucky. You can request them and they will review for you. But if you are requesting them and due to lack of time they are not responding, you don't need to be disheartened. Just do your best and apply. Okay, but if you get anyone who can review for you, it's amazing. So don't always look for expert reviews. If you find it, it's good. If you don't have a proof of any extra co-curricular activities, do online courses, attend webinars. If you are student, you can focus on the things I mentioned. But if you are not student, you are graduated and now you are applying for scholarships, one thing I will suggest you is to enroll yourself in the online courses relevant to your program, relevant to your degree. And also there are a lot of webinars which are conducted on daily basis. You can find through LinkedIn, Google, and you can enroll yourself. And you get some certificate. And even if you don't get certificate, you can take screenshot of those webinars, or you can mention the name of that webinar in your CV and what key takeaways from those webinars you attended. Okay, so this is the thing I can recommend for you, and I hopefully, inshallah it will work for you. Have faith in yourself and don't lose hope. It's obvious that you will not. For example, you apply for one opportunity and you can't get selected. No problem, no problem. You got experience from that. Although you were not successful, but you gained an experience. Always have this mentality. Okay, only GPA is not enough. Overall profile matters. Okay, please keep this in mind, because normally in Pakistan, a lot of students message me and they tell me we have 3.9 CGPA. Why will not we be accepted? This is not a question to be asked, because GPA is not everything. Okay, GPA is everything, and at the same time it is not everything. Okay, please understand this thing. And be fair and work hard to prepare your documents. Avoid shortcuts and never ask someone for their documents. Please, 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 never ask someone for their documents, because if I share my entire cover letter with you, you will read my cover letter and your all thinkings will be revolving around that cover letter. You will not be creative. You will not be creative in designing yours. So please keep that thing in your mind. Okay, so I have mentioned, though I have a lot of, like, I have a strong belief and I believe there's a lot. So I mentioned some duas for those who really believe in these. So you can take screenshot, and if you really want it, pray and ask for Allah's help. It's how I always proceed. That's why I'm sharing with you all what I do, what I did. That's why I'm sharing this with you as well. Okay, so you can submit while preparing your applications, while submitting, you can rely, do your efforts, and then leave to Allah, and then have faith with all the duas and prayers. Best of luck. So now I will take questions first, and then those who will be interested in knowing my journey in just 2 to 3 slides, I will share with them. But those who are not interested, they can ask questions. I will answer the questions, and then I will, like, share my journey briefly. So we are officially done with the session right now, and we can take questions. Okay. Should we take questions from the chat box, or how are we supposed to take the questions, Barka? but I don't know. So I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing your
That's
name wrong.
perfectly fine. Yeah, I think there are a couple of questions in the chat, so you can proceed with them. But if you want anyone to open their mic, that's entirely up to you.
Okay, okay. First, let's take questions. Okay, someone is raising hand. Okay, no problem. Muhammad Mustafa, you can ask your question. Please give me a second. I need to connect my charger, and you can ask question. Muhammad Mustafa. Okay, Muhammad Mustafa. Okay, Abdullah Sajid.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
Walaikum salam.
सबसे पहले आई एम वेरी थैंकफुल टू यू। बहुत अच्छा सेशन था, काफ़ी कुछ सीखने को मिला
Thank
और
you.
काफ़ी ये सेशन अटेंड करके मैं आजकल खुद भी अप्लाई कर रहा हूँ
Okay.
Erasmus के लिए। And during that time, I attended a lot of session, but this session was different, and I'm really happy I attended it.
Thank you
So,
so much.
my question was that I'm currently in my final years of bachelor's.
Okay.
So, and I'm applying for Erasmus. But the thing is that what bothers me is that the program I'm applying for and the alumni, जितने भी पुराने alumni हैं, जितनों से भी मैं बात हुई है, उन सारों की at the time of their application कोई ना कोई research publication थी. तो
Okay.
I am working on it, पर I'm not sure कि वो अभी complete हो सकेगी. It's gonna take some time.
Obviously.
बट
Okay.
I'm स्टिल वर्किंग ऑन इट।
Okay.
और अब मुझे समझ नहीं आ रही क्या उस चीज़ को मेंशन करना चाहिए कि नहीं चाहिए।
Hmm.
और जो सेकंड बात है वो ये है कि करंटली मैं एक्सचेंज सेमेस्टर के लिए अभी ऑस्ट्रिया आया हूँ।
ठीक है.
तो जो मेरे 7th सेमेस्टर है उसका मुझे जो ट्रांसक्रिप्ट मिलेगी वो फरवरी के मिड में मिलेगी।
Okay.
और जो प्रोग्राम की डेडलाइन है वो स्टार्टिंग ऑफ फरवरी है। तो अब
ठीक है.
इधर ऑस्ट्रिया में मैं कुछ कोर्सेज पढ़ रहा हूँ जो मेरा प्रोग्राम है उससे रेलेवेंट है। पर जब तक मेरे पास उसकी ट्रांसक्रिप्ट नहीं होती, आई डोंट हैव एनी प्रूफ दैट आई हैव टेकन दोज कोर्सेज। तो
Okay.
how can I mention those courses, because I won't be having my transcript until the mid of February. Thank you very much.
Okay, okay, no problem. It was such a nice question, and I will be answering your question in detail so that I know majority of you will have same questions. One thing I would like to mention here: you need to look at the requirement of your program. For my program, I can remember till now. Two of my classmates, one from Greece and one from Georgia, they don't have their final diploma, which we call degree in Pakistan. They don't have their final diploma. They applied with their 7th semester transcript. You can, okay, I will recommend you to apply for your experience. For example, I don't want to say this, but please accept it. Apply for the experience, apply with whatever you have, and then you get the notification and you can mention. Normally you can email do one thing. First, you can email your program coordinator. You will find the contact details on the website. Email them and share your scenario, your current condition with them, and ask them, am I allowed to apply with my 6th semester transcript? Okay, and mention that I'm on exchange program and I will be receiving my 7th semester transcript till this point. Okay, if they say yes, go for it, apply, and get an experience. Okay, get an experience, go through the process. And sorry, I forgot your second a publication. Okay, you asked about publication. To be honest, in my batch we are 19 students at the moment, and only 2 or 3 of us have publications. Rest of them don't have publications. So what they have, we are engineers. So what they have work experience, they have projects, they worked with different universities, different professors on different projects. When I say project, it clearly means research projects, because in engineering we normally don't repeat projects. We are working on something, find gap, and okay, it will have disadvantage, we do this thing. Okay, so publication is not a big deal. To be honest, it's a plus point. And you are an exchange program, and it's an amazing thing for you need to present this as a very big thing, because it is a big thing. Okay, so you can cover that missing part with your exchange experience. Firstly, Abdullah, I would like to ask you, did I answer your question or not?
Yes, Khadija, thank you very much. Now I know what to do. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. And also, if you find like you are stranded somewhere, you can message me on LinkedIn. You guys can message me on LinkedIn, okay?
I just sent you a connection request on LinkedIn.
Okay, okay, I will accept, no problem. Laiba,
Jazakallah.
yeah, no problem. Laiba, you can ask your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
First of all, thank you so much, Khadija, for
You're
this
welcome.
amazing session. Actually, I was not able to join it earlier because of some light issues over here, but मैंने join किया था end में और मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा. और मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है that I have done bachelor's in biochemistry
Okay,
and मेरे पास डिग्री है like अभी ही मिली है मुझे. और I'm from Quetta, Balochistan ना.
okay,
So the problem is that कि मैं जब apply करने लगती हूँ, I feel like मेरा जो competition है ना, if I compare myself from the people of Punjab as well, so I just feel like I'm not good enough, even though I have a publication as well, but I have got 7 bands in IELTS, and I'm working. I'm very hard working student. I have gold medal as well, but still I
okay,
feel like that I'm not good enough for this.
okay.
Secondly, I wanted a proof of residence. यहाँ पे जो है कोयटा में यूनियन काउंसिल ऑपरेट नहीं करता, so I'm just going to get it attested from an ex counselor. So I wanted to know that कि ये कोई problem तो create नहीं करेगा.
ओके अबाउट योर फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन मैं आपको ये कहना चाहूँगी कि मैं खुद जो है मेरा बैचलर्स बाय मेडिकल इंजीनियरिंग में रिफा यूनिवर्सिटी से है एंड इट्स नॉट अ यूनिवर्सिटी एट द लेवल ऑफ नास्ट कॉमसेट्स ओके एंड व्हेन believe me I applied for Turki Buslari scholarship in my 7th semester and I got it और मुझे मतलब यकीन नहीं होता था कि कैसे मुझे स्कॉलरशिप उस टाइम पे मिल गई हम हमेशा अपने आप को डिग्रेड करते हैं क्योंकि हमारी मेंटेलिटी ये है कि हम हमारा कंपटीशन बड़ी बहुत टॉप रैंक यूनिवर्सिटीज़ के स्टूडेंट्स हैं द ओनली डिफरेंस बिटवीन देम एंड अस इज दैट दे हैव मोर गाइडेंस दे हैव पीपल टू गाइड एंड वी आर doing everything on our own. So this is the only difference between them and us. So please don't degrade yourself. You are okay with whatever you have. You cannot change your past, but you can focus on your present and you can change your future. So this is the statement which I can only say on this thing. Just apply with whatever you have. Don't look at your competition. Just do your best and pray. This is the one thing. And yes, you are competitive enough. You don't need to look at others. Second thing is about residence letter. मुझे याद है कि मैंने अपना residence letter बनवाया था कचहरी से रावलपिंडी में कचहरी से मैंने बनवाया था उधर आपको जाना होता है ठीक है मेरे फादर ने बनवाया था मुझे एग्जैक्टली याद नहीं है उस टाइम मैं तुर्की में थी आपको कचहरी में जाना होता है आपको अपना CNIC नंबर और कुछ डिटेल्स देनी होती हैं और आपको आई थिंक 500 या 1000 उसकी फीस है वो सबमिट करवानी होती है तो वो आपको उसी वक्त बना के दे देते हैं तो मैंने कचहरी से बनवाया था और आपको कहीं से अटेस्ट करवाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है तो ये चीज़ प्लीज़ आपका देख लेना ठीक है आपको यूट्यूब से भी पता लग जाएगा मैंने यूट्यूब पे एक वीडियो भी देखी थी इससे रिलेटेड ओके नाउ वी हैव Zarmuna.
Yes. Hello, Khadija. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, Khadija, I had 2 questions. One question was that I'm a BBA student currently. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Okay, you are BBA
Okay,
student.
so I'm a BBA student, and but I want to pursue my masters in data analytics. So the thing is that in BBA, I did not study any subject related to data analytics, but my research it is on data analytics, and I did multiple courses on data analytics. I also got a Google certificate, specialization certificate on data analytics. So is this possible that when I will be applying for Erasmus, that I can apply in programs that are data analytics for data analytics? And the
Okay,
second
okay.
question, I also had another question.
Let me answer first question because I will forget. Yes, please. First, let me answer first question. Yes, Erasmus always respect that you want to change your field depending on your past experiences. Motivation for you. in my class, we are biomedical engineers, but you won't believe among 19 students, 9 are just biomedical engineers. Rest of the 10 students are mechanical engineers, civil engineer, and yes, we have one student from biochemistry. He's from Georgia, and he did his bachelor's in biochemistry, and now he got enrolled for Erasmus Mundus Master in Biomedical Engineering. So Erasmus always respect this. Not only Erasmus, all the foreign universities respect this thing. But you have to mention in your cover letter that you have to mention very strong motivation why you studied BBA, and now why you want to pursue your master in data analytics. And yes, you can for sure apply, but when you shortlist any program, please make sure to do complete research on the requirements, if they are accepting students from multiple backgrounds or just data analytics. Okay, please go through this thing. And if you need any further assistance, you can message me on LinkedIn. But please, guys, don't expect that you will send me a message that what and ask me what are the requirements for this specific program, and I will be very nice to you and share the requirements with you. I have already showed you how you can see the requirements. Okay, so ask me the questions which really need to be asked. Okay, what is your second question, Zarmuna?
Second question is that I'm from a government institute, so the result it's very slow. Like right now, I'm in my seventh semester, but we haven't got our fifth, and sixth semester results. So like when I will graduate, it will take a year almost for my degree to come and my transcripts to come. So like, does this mean that I cannot apply in the meantime?
Okay. To be honest, yes, your degree can take almost up to a year to become. Okay, but you will get your transcript within your result, which is normally in our case we used to have VLE system. I don't know about your system. You will have some system where you will get your result. You will get to know what are your grades right after your eighth semester exam. Maybe after 1 month, maximum 2 months, you will get to know your result. And university give one thing, which is hope certificate, which states that she has completed all the obligations of the degree, but as per our requirements or some regulatory things, we will issue her degree after 6 months, and you can apply on the basis of that hope certificate. You can apply.
And Khadija, I was once going through an Erasmus program. So there it was like specifically when I was looking for data analytics. So they specifically mentioned that only people in who did bachelor's in data analytics, they can apply only. So like that meant that they did not accept any other students.
Yes, if they mention that they will not accept, you don't need to waste your time and apply. But let me tell you, you can search when you search with data analytics keyword, you will only see one or two program, but you can also search by using other keywords. So keep that in mind. For example, actually I don't know what are the subjects in data analytics, but in biomedical engineering we have one course, modeling and simulation. When I will apply with the keyword modeling and simulation, I will get some other courses. So you can see some keywords related to data analytics, and you will find other programs too. So stay motivated and search for other programs.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm sorry, guys. First, we need to take some questions from the chat because they question first. They deserve answers. Okay. Can you search about BB? Okay. So, can I apply in Hungarian and Erasmus Mundus and such other programs in Erasmus Mundus? No, these are stipendium Hungarian. I don't know. I cannot pronounce this name. Yes, I know about this scholarship. Okay. These are two different scholarships, and obviously you can apply for as many scholarships as you want. No problem in that thing. Okay. So they don't ask you applied for that scholarship. Why are you applying for this scholarship? Okay, so I applied for Erasmus Mundus when I was already selected and enrolled into Turkey Brislari. Okay, so it's our personal choice what we are doing. Okay, yes, someone answered. Okay, hi, Erasmus are two different. Okay, ma'am. Okay, can my O levels English be a substitute for? Yes. If your previous education is in English, you don't need to submit IELTS for some courses. Please look at the requirements. Can you please tell general admission requirements not related to biomedical only? Yes, Okay, I was showing you related to, I was showing you because that was my program. But whenever you search for any program, that portal will somehow look like this. I gave you a demo on my program. Obviously, you all are not from. Even if I do for like computer engineering, software engineering, you all are not computer engineers, software engineers, or I do on biochemistry, you all not are all are biochemists. So that's I just imagine I'm not biomedical engineer and I give you a general demo. Okay, so we need to apply to the university first. Then first, no. For Erasmus Mundus, you have to apply through the program website. No need to apply individually to different universities. Okay. Also, IELTS is mandatory. Okay, I've answered this thing. Is it would be enough? University English, yes, it will be enough. It will be enough if your program is not strict about it. For example, MBiome was not, EMA was not, goals was not. I'm talking about programs related to my field because I know the names related to my field. I did not search about other programs. Okay. Is it necessary that one should have 100% scores mentioned in criteria for his or her selection? Hassan Farouk asked a question and I did not understand his question. If someone understood his question, can you please tell me what he is trying to ask? And Hassan, if you're listening, you can ask me. Hassan Farouk. Okay. Every course, Muhammad Umair asked, every course has its own requirements based on the program you choose. So you can visit the catalog website and okay. So Muhammad Umair asked, okay, answered, nice. What is the weight limit for statement of purpose? How long? Okay, for some programs there is limit. For some programs you don't have any limit. For my program there was limit of 1,000 they mentioned maximum 1,000 words, but in most of the programs they don't mention when they don't mention. Still I will recommend you to be precise and don't exceed 1,000 words. Okay, what you will write. So but again, I am repeating one sentence which I shared with you during presentation. Please accept this thing that what you are writing, someone else has to read this thing. Okay, so make it exciting, precise, nice. Okay. Can you kindly review my SOP? Your guidance would mean a lot and would appreciate any feedback you have. Abdullah Saad. Okay, yes, you can. Okay, you can contact me through LinkedIn. Okay. I'm really busy these days, but yes, I will review your documents if I find time. Otherwise, I will be definitely reviewing by the end of January. Okay, but I will be reviewing for some of you. Okay, how many relevant online courses one should mention CV? I don't have absolute answer for this. As much as you can, but please, relevancy is the key. The word limit for application varies by program, each program. Okay, someone answered, nice. What is the timeline for applying to the scholarship? You can see timeline varies from course to course. You can see through the website. Most programs have a mid-January deadline. Okay, Scott. Okay, so these are all it's really nice that people tried to answer the questions. That's really nice. Okay, Akash, I studied an exchange semester in USA. Is it recommended to take reference letters from those professors? Okay, you studied an exchange semester. Okay, always remember one thing. Whenever we try to obtain or acquire recommendation letters or you can call it reference letters from the professors, somehow we struggle because our professors are not very responsive most of the times and they delay it, which we don't want. Okay, so please always request your recommendation letters or reference letters from those professors which you think are responsive and they can give you as soon as possible. If you think you can take reference letter from your professor where you were doing your exchange semester, it's amazing, more than amazing. You can take it. Would be a nice impression. It would be a nice thing. Okay, so because you went to USA for your exchange semester and that professor is recommending you, it sounds really nice. So you, if you can take it. Otherwise, if you cannot take, No need to be worried about things. Don't stress yourself over this thing. Okay, only 2 out of 20 students go through the whole process and work on application process in a structure. Don't worry about any competition, just be one of those two. Muhammad Umair gave a very nice answer. It's nice. Yes, because most of the students just apply without any research. To be honest, they just apply. So do research and you will be good to go. Questions from the chat box, because we are not able to ask questions, okay, due to background noise. Mehtab Khan, do we have to keep photos on the Europassport resume even if not asked? Okay, attaching your picture on the CV is it completely depends on you. On my CV, you can see there is no photo. Okay, so it's up to you. It's not like you have to mention. Yes, if you are applying for the program where you are required to submit your profile picture, you have to submit, otherwise no need. It's certificate from a university with state and okay, you are good to go if your program doesn't require. Okay, sorry for being late. It's okay. So we need to kindly your qualifications and have your okay. If you want to know about me, I can share. I shared and I can share my profile. You can go through my profile. This is what I can say. Okay, let me share my profile. I have already shared in the chat, but okay, let me share again. I think I have, yes, I have completed all the questions from the chat now. Selma, you can unmute your mic and ask question.
Hi, Khadija.
Hello.
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to appreciate you for what you are doing. It's completely inspiring, and thank you so much for telling us all the details and other knowledge as well.
Yeah.
Can you hear me properly? Because I am having internet issue.
No, I can hear you properly. No problem. You can ask your question. Okay, now we cannot hear you.
Hello, am
Yes,
I
yes,
audible now?
yes, you are audible.
Okay, first of all, I'm so embarrassed that I am having a lot of internet issues right now.
No
I was
problem. I can understand.
trying to connect to other data and then other data and light is totally gone and there is no
Okay, no
backup
problem.
and I can't say you I'm struggling right now. So
No
basically I
problem.
want to ask you, uh, so you have won the scholarship, how it feels?
Okay, how it feels. Oh, I forgot that I wanted to share my experience as well. Okay, I will share once we get done from question answer session. I will share my experience in just 2 to 3 slides if it's okay for you.
Yes, of course. I have another questions, then you
Okay,
can do that. Okay?
okay, okay.
So I am basically applying for five of the programs, and you said earlier that is it is recommended to apply at least three programs, and it is good. And according to the relevancy, you should be applying in three. So should I reduce the number?
Um, Sorry, I had to turn on the light because it's dark outside. Okay, let me tell you. Whatever I shared with you is a suggestion, to be honest, because as you know, I am not from selection committee or not expert. I'm just a student like you who is just enrolled in the first semester of her masters. I'm student like you all, but as per my experience, when I was applying for two programs, there was a pressure over me. Um, when you will be applying for five programs, I have this. Okay, if you have time, go for it. If you think you can prioritize each of your application, each and everything of your application, if you have the ability to handle properly, please go for it. But if I talk about myself as a person, I think if I get into a lot of things, I will be compromising on the quality. Okay, for example, you have to prepare to motivate. When I say relevance is the key, please focus on one thing. You will be preparing your cover letter separately for every program, your CV separately for every program. Okay, so you can say I can create a rough draft and then I will be managing it accordingly. If you think you have the ability to do it, go for 5. But when I say shortlist 3 to 4 maximum, so that you can stay focused. It's what I think. Okay, are you getting me what I'm trying to deliver?
Okay, thank you so much. I think I have understood what you have delivered. Okay, one
Yes.
more question is about proof of residence. So, is it necessary to obtain it, or just we can show some bills or other certificates which are, telling?
I will recommend you to obtain your residence certificate, and you can obtain that by number of methods. I watched one or two YouTube videos, and I just obtained it from, I was in Turkey and my father did it for me. So you can just ask your father, mother, and they will tell you, or you can watch YouTube video related to that residence certificate, and you will get it. I think submitting your bill would not be a good option, as I did not do this. So go for just obtain one residence letter, and you will be using that residence letter in applying for all other courses. So just I think you should get residence certificate instead of using your bills. Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Saima.
one more question.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, one more question that who's gonna pay the airfare?
Airfare, huh? Okay, this is a good
Because
question. Erasmus,
in the
yes.
program application there is no details about the airfare,
Okay,
visa,
okay, yes.
airfare, and other expenses.
Okay, all of these expenses are not included now. From 2023, they changed their procedure, and now you have to pay for everything by yourself in the start. But once you get your first stipend, let me tell you, I got till my second stipend. I paid all my debts. Okay, I asked my parents that you can take some, all of us cannot have all the money to afford accommodation. When you are paying in euro, everything gets double triple. Okay, so you can take, see, the thing is, first get selected, rest of the things will be sorted. Okay, don't worry for all that things. Your parents, you can take even loan from someone, and then with your even second scholarship amount, first scholarship amount, you will be able to pay them back. Okay, it's not a big deal since our stipend is so means it's a very good amount. Okay. Okay, we need to move ahead. Aisha, you can ask your question.
Assalamu alaikum, Khatija. First
Walaikum
of all, I
salam.
need to. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible, Aisha.
Thank you so much for this insightful session, and God bless you for this.
Thank
The
you.
first question, I need to make it quick. The first thing is regarding my reference letter. Actually, unfortunately, I put in the information of one of my professor, and now he's not responding. And I have sent him twice that request link. So is it possible to change that information, and I can change my referee for that? Now, if I change the detail of that and then can resend that link to another one.
Okay, okay. First, you have made the mistake for now, but please always remember this whenever you put any professor name or any lecturer's name. First, ask him that I am applying for this thing, and it is very important for my future. If you are okay with it, and if you take full responsibility of filling my reference form, I will put in your information. And if he say yes, then put his information. Okay, this is one thing, one lesson we always learn from mistake, no problem. But now what you can do, if you can see, for some scholarships there is the option of changing name, changing referee. If you can see the option of changing referee on your profile, on your application, you can change. But if you don't find, you can email the coordinator, you will find some contact details. You can email coordinators and then request them that put you can tell I put wrong information for the referee, or if you don't want to mention that, you can mention your scenario, because it seems very unprofessional that you say I am putting his information and now he is not replying. So it
Right.
sounds bit, yes, it sounds bit unprofessional, but you can, I think you are understanding my point. Try to
Yes, yes,
cover
I'm
this
getting
thing.
it. Okay.
Yes, try to cover this thing and ask him that they let you, that coordinator, they let you change the name of referee. Okay.
Okay. And in addition to this, because I am working in a UK-based company right now,
Okay.
so it is not actually that healthcare system because I belong to that field. So is it possible if I ask my UK counterpart to fill my reference, though I am, employed in a Pakistani company? You're getting my point. Like we have this thing, like we have UK-based company, USA-based companies, and things like that.
Yes.
So if I ask
Yes.
my UK counterpart and he is in the field that is relevant to the subject that I'm going to apply, so if he fill in that reference form for me, and would it be perfectly fine or relevant?
Okay, it is not always necessary that your professors or your lecturers always fill your reference letter. Or if you are working in any organization, your manager can do for you even, and it's a good thing. And also, I answered Akasha about this thing. Even if you are very involved, if you're working with one NGO, you can even ask them to fill for you. But for my program Embiom, it was mentioned that your academic referees. So when it is mentioned that academic referees, then you need to be very precise. You need to ask those people who were in, for example, I could ask my internship supervisor. So academic referee, that internship supervisor can also be counted in academic referee. On some websites, they mention everything in detail. They mention in brackets who can do for you. In your case, if they have not mentioned academic referee and they just mentioned referee and there is no requirement, yes, it would be a very good sign. You can request your supervisor or manager to fill reference letter for you, but please make sure that they will fill so that you don't have to suffer again. Okay.
Okay, and one thing more is just that I have joined many, these sessions like that for the Erasmus. And for the first one, there was a Erasmus scholar, and she have told that we can have in, our residency proof, we can have this, picture of any parcel or anything on which we have our name and address on, and we can have that picture and convert it into PDF and reply that. And in the second section session, I have heard like you can have a certificate from Union Council, and now you're saying like we can have that made from Kacheri. So can it be clear
Uh-huh.
like
Okay, so everyone,
because
yes,
everyone wants, and this thing is coming from Erasmus Scholar, right?
yeah.
So and all were selected. So would it be fine to have any one of it? Because
Okay,
Union Council thing that didn't work for me. I had to pay so much things and bills and all that stuff because it is pending from my side. So as if you were saying for Kancheri, if I can got that, in English, I can get that in on stamp paper, my name and my address, and
yes,
it is like,
this is what I did, to be honest. When I was applying, unfortunately, you guys are very, unfortunately, no, fortunately, mashallah, you guys are very resourceful that you are attending a lot of sessions. When I was
yeah.
applying for scholarship, I did not attend even a single session because I did not know that these sessions exist, to be honest. So I just watched a YouTube video, and there a person said you can get your residence proof on stamp paper from Kacheri. So I was in Turkey and I told my father that we can get this, and he went to Kacheri and he got that made for me.
Oh,
So this is what, yes, this is what I did. So everyone shares their own experiences. So if they are selected and they are telling this, it means you can do one of these things.
okay.
Yes.
Khadija, for the first of my question, like regarding the referee information, if what if there's no information regarding, the change of the details of your referee? What if I change the information and then select that, send link, and if it doesn't work, then I'll, copy paste that same information from the first referee, the previous one. So would it be fine, or would create any error in my profile? Would it be like that?
I don't think so that it can create any error in your profile, to be honest. Just try what you can try, and if you cannot change, then I have already shared with you the option of email. So you can request them. So, and they have normally they have the access to enable options and disable options.
And one thing more, that I have asked my referee to, let me know that what were the questions that they have asked to be, one of that question was the work that I have done under their supervision, right? So
Hmm.
they have asked me to tell, because that teacher that I've, he was working in public health, and that is why I found him, like, more relevant for my master's program. So he asked me like the work that I've did under his supervision, and it's not anything like that. He's just my teacher in one of my module. So so is it has to be, any research work under his supervision or anything like that,
It
or
can be any project. It can be any project. Even it can be any semester project, anything. It can be anything. But it's good that he mentions some project. Or now you have always remember one thing. When you mention someone as a referee, he or she should be someone you worked with. You worked with somehow. At bachelor's level, obviously, we cannot do a lot of things. We always work on small projects. Okay, so it can be anything. Now you have to solve all the
all
issues
the reasons?
by
Yeah,
experiments. Yes.
yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so
You're
much for your
welcome.
time.
You're welcome. Okay, we have Aisha Abid.
It was me. It was me. So I guess there's another action. I've asked my questions.
Okay. You have asked. Okay, you can lower. We don't have anyone who wants to ask question. If anyone wants to ask any question, please raise your hand so that I can answer your question. Okay, so we don't have anyone. Nobody wants to ask question since we have already spent a lot of time. So everyone is bored now. Let me share some exciting thing with you. Those who doesn't want, who are not interested in my journey can leave, and I can share some of the points. Okay, why I'm sharing my journey with you? I'm sharing my journey so that you guys get an idea. Inshallah, you guys get selected. Okay, what will happen? I submitted my application on 5th or 8th February, and I got final acceptance email on 10th April. Okay. No. I got interview email on 10th April. Your interview. Yes, I got interview email on 10th April. Now, from February till April. So, scholarships are all about patience game. You need to be very patient. From February till April, you can just pray and do duas. You cannot do anything else. Okay. So, they sent me interview email and they said you are required to prepare a presentation on your education and experiences, and they also said you need to if you want you can prepare PowerPoint presentation, or if you it's your choice. If you don't want, you can just verbally share your education and experiences. But whenever they said in the interview email that you are required to present, it's up to you if you want to present through PowerPoint or not. Always go with PowerPoint thing, because you can visually share everything through PowerPoint and it gives a good impression. So I had 15 minutes interview, and then I had 7 to 8 minutes presentation. Then they asked me 5 basic questions. Good thing about most of the Erasmus program is that they don't ask you conceptual questions. We are always afraid that I did my bachelor's, okay, I'm graduated last year, okay, and I have forgotten all the concepts. What if they ask me something conceptual? So don't be afraid. They normally don't ask anything conceptual, okay. They asked me 5 basic questions about previous academic performance. They asked me something related to one subject. about my grade. So it was a very unexpected question, but he asked me about my grade in one subject. Any project I want to work on. During my master's, he asked me, do you have any idea on which project you want to work on during your master thesis? And I shared with him plans after masters, what you want to do after masters. He specifically asked me, do you want to pursue your PhD in Europe, or do you want to go back to Pakistan? So it's up to you. If you say I want to go back to Pakistan, it's a very good thing. You can mention that I want to go back to Pakistan, then I will be doing this, that, thing. And you can also say I will be pursuing my PhD in Europe, and then I will be I can be the part of collaborative research with some of my friends or researchers in Pakistan. So these are some questions they normally ask. So that's why I wanted to share something from my journey. So those of you, all of you, all of you who get selected, inshallah, get an idea. Okay, so on 15th April, I got preliminary selection email. It varies from programs to programs. Unfortunately, my program is very slow in all these things. They first send me that you are preliminary selected for on 15th April. From April to June, I did not know if I am selected or not selected, because it says initial selection and I don't know what I have to do. They said we can ask you, may request additional documents in order to complete it. So they, for some programs, they said send very vague emails, and it was the time of like a very stressful time for me because I did not know if I am selected or not. On 5th June, they sent me final selection email, and then 5th July, they sent me admission letters. It varies from programs to programs. Some programs, I know some of my friends who got selected for other programs, they are very responsive. They got a selection email in April and letters even in April. So it varies from program to program. Those who are interested in mBiome, I know some of the students who joined this session are interested in mBiome. So it's for them. If you get selected, please be patient, because in this program you need to be very patient. You need to be very patient because acquiring visa is another problem for you, for mBiome students specifically, because our first country, Serbia, and Pakistan doesn't have Serbian embassy. So if you get, be prepared. If you are applying for this program and you get selected for this program, Pakistan doesn't have embassy. We don't have any diplomatic relations with Serbia. I was luckily in Turkey and I had residence permit. So I apply for Serbian visa through my residence permit in Turkey. And our one problem in our program mBiome is that Serbia is not part of European Union. It is not part of Schengen. So for the Greece, we have to take visa from Pakistan. So I took visa for Serbia from Turkey, and then I took visa for Greece from Pakistan. So it was really, really hectic for me. Someone asked me, how did you feel after winning this scholarship? I did not feel anything. I did not feel anything because it was the time for a lot of struggles for me, and I did not know. I knew that I have won it, but I did not know if I will be able to join it or not. So that's why I did not feel anything, because I was just worried about visas and everything. But it is not the case for everyone. For all other programs, you are applying in programs. For all other programs, you just need to acquire visa for first country. And since you are scholarship holders, you are given priority. For Greece Embassy, you won't believe I visited Greece Embassy 4 times. During my 4 times visit, nobody got visa, just I got visa, because scholarship students, and if you are European Union scholarship holder, you are given priority. So yes, visa rejection in Pakistan is a very, very high. But if you are scholarship student, you are Erasmus Mundus scholar and you did not do anything wrong, okay, you don't have any criminal record, etc., you will for sure get visa. Okay. Okay, from my experience, I just attached one thing. On 1st October, I had my welcome day, and welcome days are really nice. They give you one gift hamper where they gave us chocolates, diary, cup, keychain, souvenirs, and we visited. These are my classmates. We are from 19 different countries. You can see some African, some of also students from Europe, Asia, and Latin, even from Latin America. So this is a picture with our coordinator. So my journey started in February. I applied in February, and I had welcome day in October. So imagine the from February till October. It's not same. It's not same for all the programs, but for Mbayong, this is the case. Even if you win the scholarship, there is a long phase, these struggles and everything. And one more thing I want to mention, to be clear, is that Erasmus Mundus master programs are not part-time master programs. You study like a bachelor student. You have to prepare a lot of presentations and a lot of write-up, a lot of reports. But yes, you can travel a lot. Since you can travel in many European countries, our seniors, our friends, even for if we have a long weekend, for example, we have 4 or 5 days holiday, they go to different countries, Switzerland, Sweden, Austria. So you can go to any country. This is the one good thing about Erasmus. But please don't think if you win Erasmus you don't need to study. You have to study. Thank you guys for your patient listening. It was such a nice session, and I tried my best to deliver whatever I know. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Ma'am,
much, Khadija. This was a
I'm
very
audible?
good session.
Thank you. Yes, you are audible.
Okay, I just got my lost my connections. So I do have a question. Like, once my teacher said you can write your recommendation letter for yourself.
Okay.
Will it affect the process of scholarship?
No, I most of the times all Pakistani students, majority of Pakistani students write their own letter of recommendation. What she exactly means? She means to say write your letter of recommendation. I also the letter I showed you, I wrote that by myself. Okay, then I sent that. I emailed that letter to professor. He read that, he verified that, then he printed that on university paper with some stamps. Okay, and then we printed that out. So and then we take we scan that document and upload it. So this is the process. Professors don't have time to write that reference, specific reference or recommendation letter for every student. That's why they tell us to prepare by ourselves on their behalf.
Okay, ma'am.
Khadija,
Thank you.
Uh,
sorry for the interruption. Can you hear me?
yes, yes, I can hear you.
Sorry for the interruption. I just there's a question that popped in my mind, like regarding all the certifications and all the experience that I had. Should we, keeping that document proof in the other document section in our profile, or is it okay if we're just mentioning it? Because they
I
haven't
think
mentioned any, thing in that other document, like you would be, submitting these documents or any certification. It's just other document title,
okay.
sections. So
Okay, if they did not ask for it, you don't need to add all the documents. But if you think that you have some certificate or you have something which can really stand out, add that in your other document section.
right. And
Yes,
other thing, that is it necessary to have that recommendation letter to be printed on the letterhead pad,
yes,
or it could be, because
yes.
one of my referee, she had it in the Word document, and she was like, "This is what they have asked for, not on the letterhead part of that."
No, no, it should be on letterhead. It should be with letterhead. So it's no or nor condition. It should be on letterhead because it says that employee of that organization issued that recommendation letter for you. Otherwise, your mother or father can even issue for you.
Right. And apart from that, I want to ask one thing related to your journey. So, you're there, you're studying, and you're given stipend, right? So, are you allowed to do part-time job or to have some
They
kind of
don't. They allow you to have part-time job, which is I think 2 hours per day or 3 hours per day. But I don't need it, so I'm not doing it because I told you, masters here is not part-time masters. You study like you are doing bachelors. So believe me, you will be shocked to know that I have 7 courses. In
Okay.
masters, I have 7 courses. So,
In one
yes,
semester.
yes, for 1 semester, I have for first semester I had 5 courses. Second semester, 7 courses. Third semester, 7 courses with three compulsory and 4 electives. And yes, the it's too much. So no.
So that stipend is enough for
Yes,
covering all the
yes,
expenses
it's
and
more than enough. Even if you spend a lot of money on food, shopping, everything, it's more than enough.
the living expenses. Are you residing in one of the hostels or any property provided by them, or you're having on your own,
For
living
some
on your own?
universities, some universities, you have to find accommodation. Your seniors and and your coordinators help you in finding accommodations. But for some countries, for example, in Serbia, I am living in my own accommodation, means our hired accommodation. But in Greece, we have option of hostel. So if we want to live in hostel, we can. Please check 1 or 2 questions. Okay. Yes. If we want to live in hostel, we can live in hostel. Otherwise, we can hire our accommodation. To It's up to us, guys.
Thank you.
I really have a commitment. I'm sorry. If you guys, I have a commitment and I have to leave now. If you have questions, you please feel free to write to me on LinkedIn. Where I I again forgot Barak or Barka. I don't. I please correct me. Our moderator. Barka or Barak? Am I audible? Hello?
Khadija?
Yes, yes. I'm saying I have a commitment and I have to leave, and we can answer questions. People can ask me on LinkedIn, and as per my availability, I will answer them. Is it fine for you guys? Okay, okay. Thank you.
Alright, I think the session is
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
very
It was a
and
pleasure for me to have such an insightful session with you
with the
guys.
help. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
We